Okay, so all I put for our show notes for this story was OMG, another Meijer. Like,
That's it. That pretty much sums it up.
and this is exactly what happened. You broke this news, like just breaking it. Your story came out on March 25th, and it's all about Meijer planning to open a third store in Grand Traverse County. Now, everyone knows Meijer Classic, right?
Mhm.
Which is like
OG.
the OG Meijer. It's just on the edge of Traverse City. It's kind of in Garfield
Right there.
Township. It's
Yep.
just right there. It's been there for years. It's been there forever. And then they have a second location in Williamsburg or
Mhm.
in the Acme area, and that's been around for a couple of years.
2015, I think, is when that
Yeah.
opened. Yeah.
And now
Mm.
they want a third location, and this is in Blair Township.
Yes. Yeah. Still a Traverse City address, but yeah, Blair Township. The proposed location is right next to Menards on US 31 at Chum's Corner. So that property right now, I just drove out the other day to take a look at it when I was working on this story. It's kind of a deep. So the store will be set back from the highway. It's a deep, kind of long parcel. It has a residential home on it right now that'll be demolished to make way for the store. But it's a proposed, super center, just like we think of the big Meijer store. So a gas station, drive-through pharmacy, a
Mm.
garden center. What will be interesting about that location, obviously, Chumps Corners has a lot of traffic already. You have that intersection there of M37 and US 31. There is a proposed new traffic light that would be installed at the new Meijer entrance, which would be about a half mile down US 31. There's a trailer store there that's kind of right near where the Amazon facility is,
Yeah,
if
okay.
folks know that
Right.
area. So a new light would be planned to be installed. They're still working with the state, with the Michigan Department of Transportation on that, but that's also part of the project. So on Tuesday, April 1st at 6 o'clock, Blair Township Planning Commissioners will be reviewing the site plan for this project. So that'll be kind of the first township approval step. If they approve it that night, it'll then go to the Township Board of Trustees for a special meeting on April 22nd.
Mhm.
Those are kind of the two major approvals that would clear the way for Meijer to be able to move forward.
So clearly, when you have any big news like this, and everybody loves Meijer, and also it's Meijer, not Myers. I'm sorry,
I
it
know.
just
There's some of
is.
us, I was a kid, it was
Old
always
school is always
the
Myers.
end. Yeah.
Me too, and I have trained that out of myself as a professional broadcaster. It is
Fair.
Meijer, but like there are always the people who are excited about it. There are the people who are questioning. I mean, I saw a lot of comments on the Ticker Facebook page that were like, "What? 6 miles away from the other Meijer?" Well, if you really want to do the math, the East Side Meijer is about 6 miles away. So
Mhm.
everything is kind of, just spaced out. And the Meijer Classic is extraordinarily busy.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I did see a lot of reader comments about that, wondering about the close proximity, and that was my first question too. At first I was like, "There's no way they're going to close the existing Traverse City store. They just renovated it in the
Mhm.
last year or two." Meijer didn't say much on the record. They're pretty corporate company, so they're usually a little tight-lipped until our approvals are in place. So I think they're a little reticent. However, they had submitted a letter of intent to the township that was pretty detailed about their plans, which is a lot of where our reporting came from. What I do know about Meijer, and I kind of talked to some people behind the scenes about this too, is you're right. The existing Traverse City store, I think by volume, is one of the busiest Meijer locations that the company has.
Could be the busiest.
And we
It's
know
just
that just
insane.
colloquially, if you live in Traverse City and go to that Meijer, there's really no time of day or night. I used to go in the middle of the night. That's not an option anymore. But there's really no time you can go there where it's not incredibly busy. So my sense from people behind the scenes is that this new super center at Chumps Corner would alleviate some of the heavy pressure on the existing Traverse City store. It would also serve, the sort of the west and south side of Grand Traverse County and beyond into Benzie County. So it's not just, if you're in the middle of those two stores, you're thinking, well, I don't see the need for it. But if you're 10 miles further
For sure.
south, being
Mhm.
able to come to Chumps Corner versus all the way into Traverse City will
Right.
probably be a benefit. And clearly the company believes that it has a business plan to operate two
Yeah.
stores that close
I
together.
think, the other thought too was, what about the stores that are already there? There's a family fair that is right there. And I think, again, I mean, there's a Tom's that is directly across from Meijer Classic
Yeah.
and well, almost directly. It's like kitty
It's close,
corner.
kitty corner.
Yeah. And they're still in business too.
Yeah.
So, any feedback on, others that are maybe saying, well, this is going to completely take out family fair?
Well, I saw reader comments about that too. I didn't talk to Family Fair. I would posit a guess that they're probably not going to be thrilled
No.
about that level of competition coming in right across the street. Tums and Interlaken may feel a little bit of that impact as well. But you're right. I mean, I think, most people tend to point to the market conditions. Either those stores will be able to compete or they'll lower prices or do
Right.
things to compete, or, if they happen to be negatively impacted to the point they go out of business, that's, I guess, up to Meijer to decide whether
Yeah.
to take that on or not. But yeah, there will be impacts. What I think was interesting, we talked about in the story too, though, is just the level of growth that Blair Township has experienced in recent years. I mean, obviously, the opening of the baseball stadium many years ago was kind of the first step, but Blaine's opening, Amazon opening, there's a big workforce housing development called Corners Crossing that's under construction right now, right next to Family Fair. So those people who are going to be occupying those apartments the next couple of years will now have a new Meijer if the approvals come through right there, in addition to having Family Fair. So it's just a lot of township growth. I mean, I talked to Nicole Blanchon, who's the township supervisor, about this, and she was pointing to, it being a positive thing for the township in terms of tax revenue. Meijer stores tend to generate several $100,000 of tax revenue. We looked at some of the neighboring townships and what they bring in, which is, money that can go to more township services. I did ask her if she had heard any feedback from residents about sort of the rapid growth,
Sure.
if it's too much growth. And that's always a concern, I think, for a lot of people. In Blair Township, she said the township has really tried to consolidate its growth in these kind of commercial districts like around Chumps
Yeah.
Corner, so that the rural character that a lot of Blair Township residents like and are looking for, kind of that more quiet country living, is still available in the other sections of the township. They're just seeing a lot of that commercial core growth.
Yeah, and I mean, Chumps Corner has always kind of been commercial central,
Right.
right?
Because you got trucking lanes coming
Yeah,
there.
totally.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that was really smart of Blair Township to do that. And it's nice, knowing Nicole Blanchine. That is a group of people who are constantly listening to their constituents.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully they've continued to do that, and we'll see. I'm excited about it. Like, if
Yeah.
I can be in a 3 Meijer town, like, I'd love
growing up. We're growing up. I have a feeling, just based on the people I've interviewed and talked to so far, that the most discussion on Tuesday is probably going to happen about the traffic impacts, because that property, is zoned for it. Meijer can go in there in a special use process. You're usually looking at things like impacts and making sure that they meet township standards. And the traffic and that new traffic light is probably going to be a lot of the discussion. Whether that's enough to impact approvals, I don't know, but I think that's probably where they're going to ask most questions.
Just thinking about proximity from one light to the next, it's pretty short.
Yeah, and I drove it and looked at it, and I was like, oh, those lights are pretty close together. I did talk to MDOT, James Lake from MDOT, and he did say that if the new light goes in there, they will be coordinating the timing of those two signals, so to avoid, them backing up into each other.
Right. One last thing to say about this: when people are talking about 6 miles in July. It's ours, okay? So you're going to love that third Meijer when it comes to July. I love that.
That's true. I mean, and honestly, think about like Tom's West Bay at 14th Street. That's only a couple miles. So yeah, they clearly have a business plan there.
Absolutely.